If you're dreaming about living in Boulder, but you want something that's grounded, friendly, and maybe even a little bit affordable, well, you've got to check out Martin Acres. I'm Michael with Lovato Properties, and I'm gonna walk you through what is really one of the best entry points for neighborhoods in town. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you where Martin Acres sits, a little bit about its charm, some of its history, and really the specifics about why you should consider this neighborhood. Let's take a look. So let's begin with the orientation. Where in Boulder exactly are we? Well, we're just to the north side of Table Mesa and on the east side of Broadway. So we're sort of sandwiched in that little wedge. We're also underneath or south of Highway 36. These are the boundaries that generally kind of make up Martin Acres. It's actually a very diverse section though, so you can really break it into little micro sections within. And I will say, first and foremost, if you just talk about some of this orientation, if you're looking at Moorhead Road, which does parallel 36, a lot of those homes along that line there on the north side are rentals. And here's why. It backs to what is ultimately a fairly noisy road, Highway 36. And so that's just something to know, that north border of Martin Acres tends to be a little bit more affordable for an affordable zone. So let's talk a little bit about the history of this subdivision. It's technically called the William Martin Homestead. That's how it started. This was divided in the post-war era in the 50s. So that would be coming back from war. Folks needed smaller space. If you think about those late 40s, early 50s, and in the 60s, we only had one car, so a lot of single car garage homes. We also didn't have enormous needs, fairly modest. A lot of 3-bedroom, 1-bath homes right around 1,000 square feet. If you were lucky, you got that 1.5 bath. But so some of those classic brick ranches still exist. Some are 1,000 square foot down in a basement, so you're around 2,000 square feet. But others have been modified, tops have been popped, second floors have been added, and you've got that modern feel. But the history really goes back to that time when they were trying to cater to folks that were working for government agencies like NOAA or NIST or NCAR, any of those where you're working in that science area, you came to Boulder. So really kind of a unique bit of history there. But what has come out of it is just an awesome area where it's still affordable. Let's find out a little bit more. So if you've seen any of my videos, you know I'm always going to talk about the trail access and nature. And for here in this neighborhood, you've got great options. Right now on this path, you can take it really from the north side of Martin Acres all the way to the end where we are now at Martin Park. You can take it right to Table Mesa, shoot right into those trails that are at NCAR, Skunk Canyon, Bear Canyon, all of those beautiful trails in those foothills. But that's not all. Just on this side, you've got one of the beautiful community ditches that roll through town. You can jump in and tube down that if you're into tubing in the creeks. You can also take the path right over here to Creekside Elementary School, which has a nice, again, outdoor feel, nice views of the Flatirons, but really the nature and the access here is on point. I'm going to point one more thing out. You are close enough to where if you do continue along here, you can shoot down and get to CU South where the trails are and see South Boulder Creek Trail. So again, getting to those beautiful trails for running, walking, all of that stuff. So the Martin Acres community is awesome. You're going to see a lot of families that are here and they've chosen to be here because their kids can ride the bikes to school. I mentioned Creekside Elementary, an easy roll down the hill or up the hill depending on where you are. But the community here is really tight. Folks that are choosing this neighborhood really tend to do so because they want that close-knit neighborhood feel of folks sitting in the front yard and talking to one another, watching the kids bike to school or walking to school with other families. There's also the very obvious weekend barbecue at a place like this. We have a nice pavilion at Martin Park and you can hang out here, playground, hit the tennis ball, all that stuff. And then this great soccer field. It's really just a community feel, a family feel, but there's so much more. So if you're moving to Boulder, this is a question for you. Would you rather have modern, fixed up, totally brand new, or something here in Martin Acres that's a little bit more modest? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know what I should look at for my next video. And what about the homes themselves in this neighborhood? Well, as we talked about earlier, and just kind of a refresher, you do have a lot of single level brick ranches. and some with a basement. Some of those homes have been popped and they're 2 stories now, or they may have 3 bedrooms down and a pop top or a master or a primary suite, so making a 4-bedroom. But the prices here are still very attractive. It still becomes the entry point for Boulder. So if you're really wanting to be in Boulder, more of a starter home, this is your spot. You can find homes that are really nice, you can move in and upgrade them right around $750,000 on the low end. Typically, you're gonna find most homes in that $800,000 to around about just under $1 million. And that's something that is not easy to find in Boulder. So if you want something like that, this is your spot. I'll tell you a little story about some buyers that I helped 2 years ago. And I remember this because they were intent to get in this neighborhood for one really cool reason. A, they knew that being in this part of town, they're going to be really easy access to skiing. They wanted to cut down on that commute across town and get to I-70 to drive up to Vail, or even just to get to these close-in mountains. So that was what they really wanted, to have that easy access to the ski hill. Other folks are getting here because getting to the Denver airport could not be easier. You're just a hop, skip, and a jump away to the RTD bus. Will take you right to Denver airport. Your commute time here in a car, only 30 minutes. But that's just a little snapshot of some buyers that really wanted to be in this area. And guess what? The price was right for Martin Acres. So I have said it a couple times, Martin Park, where we are now, is just this really unique spot. It's not easy to get to in a car. So what that does is it makes it a pretty quiet, locals only park. You ride and run here very easily. So you're gonna see that it's a pretty quiet park with great amenities: playground, pavilion with barbecue, soccer field. You've got the tennis courts and of course the baseball field here. It's really an awesome little secret park. So this is the kind of neighborhood where you're brought in due to practicality, but you stay because of the community and the great vibes. If you're looking for something in Martin Acres, you want to learn more about this great neighborhood, or you're just trying to explore the rest of Boulder, please reach out. I'm Michael with Lovato Properties, and I'd love to give you a tour or chat Boulder real estate.